Well, hello everyone. Oh, this is a little bit darker than I want, but I do have the phone set kind of low on lighting to save on power. Well, I hate YouTube. That's weird. I'm live according to this, and according to this, I'm not live. So let's pull out of YouTube altogether. Summer, you're not helping. Okay, there it's finally showing me live. Summer, you're not helping me. Yes, Summer is on the. Hello, Ronnie. Summer is on the I am not being helpful part of our journey. I'm trying to get this all together here and set up, and I guess she hasn't done YouTube in so long that she couldn't wait to start. I guess because she knows that, she can sort of steal all the attention. Oh yeah, Ronnie. I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that are talking shit. I mean, at this point, I've got one mod left, YouTube Schizophrenic. I mean, my back looks like it is a cutlery block. And I've decided that it's time to flip the fucking table over, dude. And we're just gonna start fucking being a dick. Now, not to you, of course, you're my friend. You get to enjoy being a dick along with me. Well, I've got this in portrait mode, to show a lot of people, because I mean, I'm gonna just start being an ass. I mean, Ronnie, it's good that you're the first one here. You of all people know, what have I done? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have done nothing for any of these people to say the bullshit that they have. I mean, Miss Moonbear tonight. Trisha shouldn't be around Roger. She never could say why. Never did say why. So I just blocked her on this fucking channel and linked her shit on my other channel and said, if you want to talk about me, I'll be more than happy to talk about you. Hello, Rise Above. Oh, yeah, I mean, and in the comments, since I've had a couple videos on Trisha now, there's a ton of people, Ronnie, that used to be my best bud that are now calling me all sorts of names that other people do for no good reason. And I'm done with, trying to, quote, entertain those people. I've got a ton of fucking lolcows. I could put on a fucking hell of a show. I'm not. Because 95% of the drama community are human fucking garbage. Yep. Old women can be human fucking garbage too. And all of the human garbage goes down right now to the drama community. It's not that all old women past menopause are bad. It's just these have all congregated together. Like a planet forms from dust and debris. That's how this forms on YouTube. The dust and debris, because none of these women's families want shit to do with them. They all got catfish pictures or no pictures, and then want to complain about someone that actually shows their face. Now, I'm waiting for somebody. Oh, there's a review message. There it is. A good one. Well, yeah, Rise Above, my buddy. Now, see, both of you have known me for some time. I've not changed. What have I done wrong? Nothing. I've stayed in my lane for the most part, and people did nothing but be shit to me. So I'm going to be nothing more than shit to them. And I'm going to watch the whole fucking drama community, and when any of these morons break TOS, I'm going to help bring down their channels. Like the Grim fucking Reaper on a bad fucking day. And you guys know, I used to say I respect the viewer. Well, you know what? After several years of that, the viewer didn't respect me. And they can all burn in infernum for all I care. Now, let me start shitting on people. Now, we'll start, because I don't have much crap to throw at this one, but this is the crap I'm going to throw at Original Al. She was Neg's best buddy. I met her through Negs, and she shits on Negs at every chance, and Negs has not done anything to her. All for a fucking dollar. So she can keep smoking her blunts. You know, she used to be a scamming drug addict and admitted it. She's still a scamming drug addict on YouTube. Clip that, I don't give a fuck. I'd say it to her face. Right before I laughed in it. Now, come on, I mean, there's more than my buddies here. Now, this one is a Southern Belle. I have 5 tattoos, 3 on my legs, 1 on my chest, but this is a Southern Belle because my family came from the American South. Now, I was born in Ohio, which is not the American South. I currently live in Kentucky because it's cheaper. And, you know, evil people on YouTube, you know, they try to SWAT you. My cops won't SWAT here. Matter of fact, if somebody shows up here on my property, I can pretty much cap them. Well, it kind of is in a way. You know, you are right about that. Now, this was now an interesting thing. I always have girls do my tattoos because I think that in a tattoo, a girl gets more into doing it than a guy. You know, a guy's really more interested in the dollars afterwards. But I have women do all my tattoos. Hello, Take Today. Well, Multiplayer Madness, welcome to the community. Now, you see, I'm a drama creator. I rarely engage anymore because most of my subscribers are human garbage. Now, why I am here? Because I would like some more subscribers that are not human garbage and want to have a good time. So, you know, that's my slight introduction. Now, this stream, you're going to hear me be bitchy and talk about a bunch of people that you're not going to know about. And I'm sorry about that. Matter of fact, we might have some kind of music intermission. So, you know, sometimes I run in my mouth like an asshole. Well, thank you, Swedes. I mean, I used to be a fairly popular creator in the drama community, but I mean, once again, when I learned that most of my subscribers were human garbage, I mean, it tended to take out some fun of the YouTube. And also, excuse me for a moment, mouth is dry. Now, since we, you know, I'll break this up a bit. Since we are going to have new people in, you know, my old people are going to know most of these things. But, you know, my therapist, I no longer am in therapy. They told me I am done with therapy. I'm evidently not done with Cat. Now, if you're here for long, this is Summer the Cat. She gets in my way doing YouTube. She's a Manx. She has no tail, and she does not like me to show you she has no tail because she says, don't pick me up like that. Oh, Multiplayer Madness. You have come down a hellish rabbit hole. Now, I got started on YouTube. I got drafted into this shit. I live near a large YouTuber, literally and figuratively, Amberlynn Reed. She had a channel of over 150,000 subscribers, and she gained 200 pounds on her weight loss channel. She weighed over 600 pounds. Well, it turned out that this Amberlynn Reed that lived near me moved in with a guy that I knew. I just hadn't talked to him in a few years. And I could debunk everything she said. So people asked me to start making videos. And that sucked me into doing this shit. But there's various people across the drama community. Excuse me. Now, currently, I am a moderator for Truthfully Trisha. She is a channel near 50,000 subscribers. She is a large bosom 46-year-old woman who is attractive for her age. And there is a group of women who stalk and hate her. Now, these people want me to hate her too. And there is a ton of these people that just because I won't go on their hate train has turned on me. That's why we have the title of the stream that we do. If they cast me the villain, I will play this role. I am 5'11" and about 200 pounds. I live on a farm all by myself in the middle of Kentucky. I suppose you're wrong. Now, I am sitting in my bed. Now, an interesting thing, I am streaming with no pants. So you will not see me stand up. Actually, I'm sitting right here under a satin comforter. It's 10 o'clock at night in the middle of the wilderness of Kentucky. We just had a storm go through, and I am sitting here in my bed. I've got 2 chairs pulled together, 3 furry blankets down on top, and 2 satin comforters and a furry blanket over me, and a cat. I've got personally, I have about 12 cats on the property, and there's probably about 5 or 6 more ferals. I live alone on 20 acres. Now, if you subscribe and stick around to the channel, you'll get to see some of it. Now, I do a ton of shit on YouTube, and most of it's not on large channels. You know, I have a storytelling channel that does some science fiction. I have a wargaming channel that has almost no subscribers, but I put in more effort to that than anything. Actually, used to be I had a perfect view of them. Now, I moved here and bought the farm in 1996. But I've had people move in here, here, and here, and they all brought light with them. So I can still see the stars a whole lot better than a city. But 10, 12 years ago, you could just see the Milky Way just as perfect as could be, and not so much now. Now, the interesting thing is where I live in Kentucky, they test the planes over us. You know, all of the U.S. fighter jets, they get tested over me, and many times in the middle of the night, starting about, well, right about now, right about 10 o'clock in the evening, and it's 10:12 right now. There's going to be a dot that's going to be over where I am, and it's going to do some amazing acrobatics. And that's an American plane. I got a kitty digging at my door. I'm sorry, Richella. You had to came in before the stream. You're going to have to sit out there till after. Yes, my pond is over an acre. It's 26 foot deep, and it's got tens of thousands of fish in it. Well, an interesting thing, I have seizures. So I can't drive anymore. So I have to walk 2 miles to the store with a pack about every other day. Now, I did that today, and that's one reason why I am sitting in this bed, because I had a giant bag of cat food in a backpack on my back and walked a couple miles with it. And that's not fun, by the way, but I got to get up and do it again tomorrow. And then I got to do it again in the next few days because, as I mentioned, the animals on the property. Now, I do raise hay, so I don't have that many animals to tend to. Now, I am thinking about, my yard is over an acre. So, since gas is so high, I'm thinking about buying a goat or a sheep to eat my yard. Now, I'm thinking heavily of a sheep because I'm thinking when it would get winter, he could go see sheep Jesus, and I could have lamb all winter and then get another one in the spring. Well, Multiplayer Madness, I do not see UFOs here, but when I was a teenager here, about 13 years old, and I'm almost 56 now. So this would have been over 40 years ago. Me and a cousin that we both hated each other were walking to a store here, and we saw a UFO. We saw something land in the distance, and neither of us could ever explain it. And that has been my only UFO phenomenon. But, like I said, this has been over 40 some years ago. So you can say I had a close encounter of the second kind. Well, no, actually, my disability is for complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, through all of my therapy, we actually came back and it turns out it's from birth. Now, you might look at me sideways when I say that, but as my therapist once said when I had a therapist, I am the most interesting person that she ever met. Now, I spent the first 6 months of my life in a hospital, Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, because I was born without a large part of my urinary tract. The stuff was there. I was just missing the internal plumbing. And I was going to die as a baby. And this was 1968. So through 3 surgeries, each they said I would not live the night. I lived the night, obviously. And I was an advancement in our medical technology because I was the first person to ever survive something like that. And all of this reconstructive surgery that they have right now and the ability to make women into men, stems back from that surgery. Yes, Multiplayer Madness, it does. Now, I have pain. It's like all through the guts right here. It's tight. Now, talking to my therapist, it's kind of like I have a period all the time. A little bit of cramping because, all the scar tissue from the different surgeries. And sometimes I will get a backflow in my urine that will cause a serious infection. And that's been pretty good. Now, an interesting thing, on YouTube, we don't get to say many positive things, but because of that happened to me, I have free health care now. But if I didn't have that free health care and I needed a surgery, random corporations would pay for my surgery. I would just have to pay the doctor's fee. So on my last surgery, I had to pay $600 to the doctor. And other than that, my tens of thousands of dollars worth of surgery was all handled by corporations. They were anonymous donors, and they wouldn't even tell me who they were. Because I was like, I don't care who they are. I will buy their shit. And I couldn't even find out. But that is a lifelong thing for me. If I have any surgery that's related to my birth condition, then random corporations pay for it, and I just got to pay the doctor. Hello, Tasha. Well, I had my parts. There was just no channel to pee out of. So they literally had to cut one in. They had to take skin grafts from my back, and I've got an interesting scar just below the waistline that looks weird. And that's where they took the skin grafts from in order to construct the channel for me to be able to pee. Now, because they didn't expect me to live each of these surgeries because no one had before, they shot me up with 1968 drugs. Now, I had to kick drugs 3 times in my first 6 months of life. So, an interesting thing, I do not get addicted. Because to me, just kicking drugs is something I used to do as a baby. But, this is just an interesting Roger fact. This is the circumstances of my birth. Now, once again, that was what was going to kill me. Now, let me see. Let me get a light on this. Now, my second one, if you look closely, I have a hole right here. That is my second mutation. Now, there's a little piece of cartilage right here, and the hole goes to there. So I can actually put a needle there, and it can go all the way up to here. That was the second mutation I was born with. And that one is actually a fairly common human mutation, and maybe like 1 in 5 to 10,000 people will get that one, but it's actually easily corrected with cosmetic surgery. I just wasn't going to get any cosmetic surgery. Now, the other thing is right here is all bone. You know, where you normally have cartilage in between your ribs, all this right here is fused as solid bone. That is a pure mutation. Now, once again, it's doubtful that that would ever pass on, but you know, those were the 3 oddities that I was born with. Now, it's just, you can't stab me right here. I mean, basically what I have is I have armor right here. You know, you can't stick a knife through there because all you're going to do is hit bone. Now, once again, it's not the greatest mutation in the universe, but it is a mutation. Well, Kelly, you can throw up all you want. I mean, my advice is, you know, find you a nice, calming Coca-Cola, if you can afford it. Now, I'm not a part of the KKK. I'm not a part of anything anymore. Now, if you're wondering what this is behind me, this is my practice katana. Because I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. You know, I have some swords, and I have some big blades, but, you know, this is what I practice with, because that way I don't get hurt. Now, I grew up in Cincinnati, and I've had this since 18 years old. And this is what I used to put upside people's head that were mouthed off to me. Yep, it is pure hickory. And it's got blade scars and head scars. And once again, now, a fun fact. A bat is made out of pine. This is solid hickory. You hit someone swinging a bat at you, if you hit that bat, it will go into 1,000,000 freaking shards if you hit it hard enough. Now, that might sound cool, but it kind of fucking sucks because it literally explodes wood everywhere, and you get literally, it's like a porcupine all down your arm or wherever that bat sprayed that wood. That does suck. I mean, you know, when I think back in my life and it's like, what are the top 10 things that sucked? That's one of them. Probably about 9 or 10 on that list. Oh, it's just the genetic lottery. Yes, it's just the genetic lottery, because my mother was Irish and Cherokee, and my father was English, Scottish, and Cherokee. And they came from different regions. So yes, just a pure random mutation. Now, because of my mother's bullshit, I was born way too early. And that's why I had so much trouble. I mean, I was not ready to come out of the cooker. Now, I was under 3 pounds as a baby. I was probably at the time, you know, they have babies tiny, tiny now. But, you know, at the time, I was probably just a few ounces from being a world record. But, you know, this is just way back, and, you know, this is just something that I've dealt with. It's not caused me too much trouble. Now, in my age, those surgeries are starting to cause me more trouble. You know, that's one thing I have not been talking to YouTube about. And I am going to have to go back to a bunch of doctors and oh my God, they're fucking idiots. I mean, total fucking idiots are the doctors. Now, on another one of these, remember I said a minute ago you have those top 10 moments that sucked? Now, in my top 10 strange moments was the last time I got surgery. Because of the uniqueness of my surgery, the doctor wanted all of the other doctors to see my shit. So this is 2006, and I'm a 30-something dude, and you know, literally an entire room of small room filled full of doctors, big metal table, and I have to whip out my junk and throw it up on the table. And I say, you know, that's in my top 10, you know, odd things that I have had to do in life, and I had to keep a straight face doing it. And there was 2 doctors in the corner whispering, and I'm just thinking like, don't get an erection. Don't get an erection. And I mean, they were hot too. And I'm like, oh shit, don't get an erection. Now, fortunately, I managed to control myself, and I did not get a happy. Well, that's good for you, fart inhaler. Well, I mean, I used to do horrible things. I mean, well, let's be honest, you know, I don't do horrible things now, and I've not done horrible things in a long time, but because of my physical issues, you know, it made it hard sometimes to hold down a job. So when I lived in Cincinnati, you know, my job was I sold drugs and I beat people up. You know, until I was 28 years old, that's how I mainly made my bread. You know, I just had jobs now and then again to cover up for the fact of how much weed I was selling. Speaking of which, excuse me, Summer. Summer the cat's still in the way. Someone said weed, so I just had to. Now, I had stopped smoking weed ages ago, but when I started having seizures in 2015, about 2017, I started smoking weed for them, and it's helped a lot. It's not made it perfect. You know, now I'll have more like a Mitch McConnell lockup and some trembling. Where used to be I'd have, you know, full on the floor seizures and it would just be ugly. Well, actually, heads will roll. You've not seen how this can go. I mean, I'm being tame right now. Can I reach it over here? Now, actually, heads will roll. I mean, I'm not wearing any pants, so we're not going to be standing up. But, I mean, now, I do characters on YouTube. And this is the mask of one of my characters, Alfarius. Ah, shit, we're having a cat moment. Now, this is Summer. She's also on the channel. She's a Manx. She has no tail. I did not eat it. Did it? She's middle-aged now, but she has always done YouTube. Every time I do a live stream, she has to come up here and make her presence known. You want to see my chest? There you go. Does that make you happy now? I was born in 1968. Now, my birthday is coming up here in, well, a couple months, and I will be 56 years old. Yep. Now, you notice the color of my shirt changed. Because, see, back when I used to be a naughty criminal person, I would buy shirts that you could flip over and they'd be a different color. So if you did something naughty, you just turn your shirt inside out and you're a different person. Well, Tasha, Rich is about 9 months younger than me. Well, no, about 6 months younger than me. So he's a 55-year-old man from North Carolina. Me. Now, a fun fact on this channel, when I was doing daily content, I used to run for president. The last election, I got 44 votes. And I swear I would have won if it wasn't for Paraguayan collusion. And the election before, I got 43 votes. Because one of the channel things that we would do is anybody that wanted to vote for neither candidate would write me in for president. So, as I said, last election, 40, I got one more vote. I'm not haven't been running for president yet, but maybe if I throw my hat into the race, maybe I can get 45 votes this year. My name is Roger Brown. And as I said earlier, I've got several channels on YouTube. This is the drama one. And you know what really pisses me off? I mean, I got some really good content on other channels, but all people care about is fucking drama. My first channel had over 3,000 subscribers. I got tired of doing fat girl content, so I got it back and just hit it. I never want to do fat girl content again. No. And this was my side channel that was smaller. And it's been about this subscriber for about a year. I've not really been doing much. Now, I am modding for Truthfully Trisha, who's pretty popular on YouTube at this point and streaming. And she's a large bosom 46-year-old woman who's bipolar. Well, actually, I bake chicken. Honestly, I eat fairly healthy. So, I do not eat fried chicken. I bake or grill my chicken. So, that's another fun fact. Now, I have also, because I live in the country, there's many times that I kill dinner. If you go to this channel's playlist, you can see what it looks like if you cut Bambi in half and butchered him. Yes. Because of my disability, I don't get a big deer. I want something compact. And after I pop him, I have someone else butcher him for the front half, and I take the back half. I ate like a king all of October. Axolotl Gamer. Now, I can pronounce Aztec words. I hate to pronounce Aztec words, but yes, I can easily say yours. For I am a fucking genius. Now, I do not bring this to YouTube. I do not normally flex on YouTube, but there are so many that hate me on YouTube. All I got to do is just say that, and their heads flip fucking around. Now I don't talk down. I do not talk highfalutin because there's no reason for it, because I'm still just a common dude. I just know way too much shit. And that's probably going to be my next stream. Is I'm going to get in here and just title it on Ask Me Anything. And that will be a test of myself. Well, actually, I know a bit about everything. Now, there's certain things that I do suck at. Sewing. Dancing. Dancing is something that is just, it's funny. I can move gracefully like a cat, but I cannot dance to save my life. Now, Multiplayer Madness. You hit on a painful yet loved subject for me. I used to love Star Trek and Star Wars. And what they have done to both of those franchises is a fucking abomination. Now, I got started on YouTube as a part of the Fandom Menace. You know, if you know Doomcock, you know, I was a part of his community, you know, on that side of the YouTube. The side of YouTube that hates Disney. And that's how I got started involving with drama, is fighting Disney trolls. Now, I'm into Warhammer 40K. And you can find me in the comment section or in the live streams of many channels that do Warhammer 40K content. Now, I have a tiny channel that does Warhammer 40K theories, and I have a channel that is sitting for a couple years waiting to go for me to do more Warhammer 40K content on. Matter of fact, I have a costume because I'm going to play an Inquisitor character. Now, I've decided on this channel to start with thoughts of the day. Excuse me. Excuse me. Because if anyone are into Warhammer 40K, you know that many times Warhammer 40K was a very repressive society. So I have an Inquisitor costume, and I am going to give thoughts for the day to build some sort of a subscriber base. Then I'm going to actually put other content on it besides just that. That is not a gun behind me. This is a katana. Now, my pistol is sitting right over there because back last May, we had a YouTuber named Jimbo Collins, country boy Jimbo Collins, former professional wrestler, show up on my property to attack me. And I had that said pistol in my hand. And Mr. Collins ran from my property as quick as he could, and he called the police on himself, and the police would still like to talk to Mr. Jimbo Collins. I mean, I get more death threats than anyone else on YouTube. Now, I'm laughing because, you know, after I'm saying that, it's like, do I want to show a Milton John or not? Because many people would try to, you know, once again, it would be normal to challenge on that. And I'm like, do I want to break out the audio receipts on this or not? Now, Milton John is a want-to-be transsexual individual who is completely batshit insane. And he threatens on a regular basis to cut my head off with a chainsaw. And he means it. It's just, well, he's just got back out of trouble. So we don't see much of him because he threatened a cop and he went into the nut house, and they recently have let him out, and no one has seen from him since. I don't drink. That's sad, but no, I don't drink. I've not had a sip of alcohol since about 2012. And then I was drinking with a chick that night. Well, I am not dirty and dusty. I am completely fine. Now, the light in here is dim because, you know what? I have to pay the electric bill. So I keep a 40-watt bulb up there, and we just have to deal with it. I have well water. Yes, I do. I have all the free water I want. And I also have all the free fish I want. And I have all the free rabbits I want. I have all the free turtles I want. But I'm only allowed one deer a year. I don't get as much of those as I want. I can take one. And I've had my deer this year. Yep, and I don't got to pay no water bill. Well, I was born in the 60s. Now, I grew up in the 70s, and I grew up with Jimmy fucking Carter as president. Oh, another interesting Roger fact. When I was a young man growing up, guess who my mayor was? Go ahead, guess. I'll give chat a few guesses, and we will see if any of you are psychic. You all know his name. I will say that. Everyone here knows the person I'm talking about. But yes, who was my mayor in the 1970s? And we'll see if any of you have psychic powers. No, it wasn't Mayor McCheese. Nope, it wasn't Mayor Dunlop. Chat gets one more guess. Not gonna do a dance. I ain't wearing no pants. I'm sitting in bed. Nope. Chat has failed. Excuse me, Simmer. My mayor was Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer used to be the mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio. And he had to step down because he paid for a hooker with a check. He paid like $500 and some for a hooker in 1970s money. But yes, Jerry Springer used to be my mayor growing up. Until he got thrown out of, or I say he had to resign office. Then he became a broadcaster for Channel 5 and went to their news team. And he did that until he got his show. And then he became the Jerry Springer you all know. But yes, Jerry, like I said, Jerry Springer was my mayor growing up in Cincinnati. I think you got it wrong because I actually react to evil people. Now, that's one thing that I do is normally I don't just play with, oh, look at this funny person. I focus on people that are actually dangerous. And that is why I get more death threats than anyone on YouTube. And I'm fine with it. Now, the chicks I have met on YouTube have been insane. Now, in my several years of YouTube, I have had notice the operating word had 3 girlfriends that I got from YouTube. Now, the first 2 were dominatrixes. I am not kidding. It is not hyperbole. The first relationship, we got to know each other for several months. And 10 days into it, she was a fucking nutball. I mean, from the moment of, will you be my girlfriend? Her mask came off and a fucking lunatic came out. Actually, Neil, I'm sitting in Kentucky and I have never met anyone from the KKK. My family's from Kentucky. I have been in Kentucky since 1996, and I know no one in the KKK, and I know no one that knows of anyone in the KKK. I ain't doing no dance, because I don't dance. I also have no pants on. And that's the other reason that I'm not going to do no dance, because I've got a really fun fuck you dance that I do. Actually, spamming my chat just gets you blocked. Now, once again, you spam my chat because people are trying to interact with me. I'm just going to hide you from the channel. I mean, I have no problem moderating my own chat. I mean, I get an unbelievable level of hate, but, I'm going to be pretty tolerant, honestly. Now, there's going to be certain people that come in here, but I can tell who they are by what they say. Just saying. Well, actually, we're just bullshitting, you know? And then you guys know a little bit about me. See if you feel like subscribing to this shit show. Because this channel, pretty much because it's a drama channel, is a fucking shit show. I have another channel called Roger Brown, the Walking Dude, where I talk about real world shit that gets almost no views. And it's sad because that's the channel people should want to listen to. But no. People want to hear me say cunty things about dumbass people. Oh, Catherine, this is a potty mouth zone. Now that's sorry, because this is a adult chat. There will be a certain level of restraint, but at times I will say fuck, fuckity, fuck, as much as I fucking want. Just saying, because you see, this channel is not monetized, which means I don't have to kiss anyone's ass for money. Nope. Now, another fun thing is because I say fuck, fuckity, fuck, there is almost no ads on this channel. So I have ad-free YouTube. Now, on my other channels that aren't even to 1,000 subscribers, they're spamming them with ads to no end. But, you know, I'm mainly here to have fun at this point. Now, there'll be a time that I will be covering some odd people and we'll listen to crazy people say stupid things. But I've been dealing with evil people. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll do a flip back, that I am a mod of Truthfully Trisha. And because I wouldn't turn on Truthfully Trisha, you know, I'm getting a new level of hate of people that were supposed to be my friends. Well, good night, multiplayer. And it's good to meet you. Now, once again, I wish it was under a better circumstance, but I'm going to be streaming in portrait a lot because I actually want an audience that's worth talking to, worth getting to know, because there are people on YouTube that are worth doing content for. It's just this drama crowd and how insane that they get over nothing. They're not the people really to do content for. And as I said, I do a whole bunch of different things on YouTube that people will be interested in. And unfortunately, this channel is kind of going to be kind of like the gateway drug into that. My name is Roger Brown. I am the most famous Roger Brown in the world. And if you look on me at Google, they have suppressed me to where you cannot find me. If you type Roger Brown into YouTube, you're going to find me at the top. But if you type me on Google, you look for me, it's like I am fucking deleted from existence. Now, there's another Roger Brown that's a good musician. And one of his friends came in and he's like, I can't, you know, he was expecting me to be his YouTube friend, the musician. And I had to explain to him that I am the most famous Roger Brown. Now, it is sad. You would think that the good musician Roger Brown would be far more popular than me. In a perfect world, he would be. But no. People want to hear me say poo-poo words about dumbass people. Oh, people write about me. No doubt about that. Just saying. Now, once again, 95% of it is pure made-up slander. Now, you will hear, you know, if you hang around, you will hear some entertaining slander. I mean, I get all sorts of bullshit because people just try to generate hate. No, Catherine, I'm not gay. And you know what? At this point, I think it was a mistake. You know, after my last 3 relationships, you know, it's like, maybe being straight was a mistake. Because my last one, now, this is where we talk serious. I mean, I really loved her to no end. And women are messed up creatures. She ended up ghosting me for her ex husband that used to abuse her. She's a Catholic woman, a good religious woman. So she went back to her abusive ex husband and ghosted me. That hurt. I mean, I was planning on making my whole future with her. I mean, I was organized. Now in this place, we are in the game room. During the winter, the game room is the smallest place. So I put a heater in here and I sleep in this room during the winter. I've got my master bedroom and I had another one I turned into a library. I mean, I completely took my library apart so her mother would have a good bedroom and a place to sleep. I fixed the place all up real nice for her too. And then I'm literally going to take my life and rip it apart and form it around her, and she ghosts me for her abusive ex-husband. Well, Hunted Coyotes, that's Leticia. Now, in chat, what Hunted Coyotes is saying, remember I said that I used to cover dangerous people. One of them was Leticia Collins was her last name. She was schizophrenic, pregnant, and she kept threatening her baby. Now, she kept threatening everyone else too, and she got her baby taken away from her and put in jail. And she got out of jail, and she's currently going, put it this way, she got in trouble in 4 states. One state is done with her, and now she's in Oklahoma. In Hunted Coyotes, I actually have a Leticia update. And she's been cleaning up her social media and basically prepping for her court cases. She's been cleaning up her social media, and I will have like a 3-minute long Leticia update, and it will basically say that. And of course, I will say it all polished up and, all professional YouTuber like and fun. But, she's basically getting her house in order for court, and she's currently not allowed on social media. Well, thank you, Eric. Many people have said that. Now, if some people know, one of the larger YouTubers that I know well enough is Omegon. I tend to hang out in his chats a lot. And now, one interesting thing is I have wicked mad detective skills. So sometimes YouTubers will have a mystery and it will basically get filtered down to the grapevine, and I will get mysteries put in my lap, and then I figure them out and basically filter the information back up to the people who are asking for it. Now, I do have one YouTuber that's not an asshole, that's my friend. Well, I have a few. I'm just being hyperbolic, I think. The YouTube schizophrenic. Now, some of this drama content, his content and mine will go back and forth. Many times he'll pick something, but we many times will find the most interesting people on the internet to talk about. Now, there's an Elaine Miller who calls herself Troll Cal on Twitter. And a bunch of her simps have been threatening me. And it's hilarious because I'm out here in the Kentucky wild. I mean, anybody that comes and they're like, I'll pull up to your driveway with no lights on in the middle of the night. My driveway is a 1/4 mile long. It's narrow with like 6 strands of barbed wire on each side. And my response is, I look forward to seeing that. Because, it's hilarious. Anybody that tries to come down my road with no lights on, they're going to end up in the ditch and into those 6 strands of barbed wire. It is a practice katana, but you are correct. It is a katana. But this is a wooden katana. That way you're not practicing something that's not dangerous. But yes, this is a wooden katana. Your eyes were not deceiving you. But that's my practice one. Because in reality, I can whip ass with a sword. Now, the problem is, well, I'm good enough to where I could probably get a job in the movies. But the problem is, I don't know how not to hit somebody. I cannot fake sword fight. I'm in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. Actually, I got things to do. Now, because of YouTube terms of service, I can only show a bit, but like I say, I got a lot more things that can do that. In fact, I got 2 of those, one for each hand. But because of terms of service, I cannot show you the whole thing because YouTube could strike the stream. So that's why I just had to show you the end of it. Well, Catherine, that's what that was. I've got 2 of them, like I said, one for each hand, but because of YouTube terms of service, I could only show you about that much of it. Because, I like Sharpie things. It was always my things. Now, an interesting thing is, when I was young, I did used to play Dungeons and Dragons. So, as young me, I liked all that sort of shit. Now, another interesting fact, that if you liked Dungeons and Dragons, I used to be a Ral Partha employee. Now, if anyone knows what Ral Partha was, it was the place that used to make all the metal miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons. And when I was a 19 to 20-some-year-old something, that's what I used to do at work all day, was make miniatures to make little lead men. Now, I suck with a bow. Once again, I have many, many wicked skills, and I admit the ones I do not have. I suck with a bow. Now, a spear, on the other hand, I've got a 3-foot native spear, and I can take out squirrels flying in trees with it. But yes, my bow skills are F. I was trying to be kind to myself, but when I do this, I'm usually evaluating what I'm about to say and is it completely accurate. I was going to say D-, but no, I'm going to be real with myself. I fail with a bow. Now, with a firearm, on the other hand, I can shoot a flea off a dog's asshole. Well, Eric, just a minute and I will show you. It is a Southern Belle. See if I can get a light on it and let you see it a little better. Yes, it is a Southern Belle. Yes, and I can do a crossbow. Now, the thing is I would like to be good at archery. Now, many of my neighbors are really good with a bow. I am not one of them. Now, I do have a bow, but I'm better off with a gun. Just saying. No, Anarchy, I have not. Now, the Indian Kukri gave me an emergency room trip. And after that, it curbed my enthusiasm. Just saying. Now, when I was a teenager in the 80s, we didn't have the internet. So we had to live the Beavis and Butthead life. Now, I had one of my friends that was a martial artist. And he would always bring strange new exotic weapons for us to play with. And that's how I got good with this kind of shit. Now, the interesting thing is because of that, I could get good with about anything. Now, and so could he. except the 3-section staff. I have seen people use the 3-section staff, but when you pick up that 3-section staff and try to use it, you are going to beat yourself to death. When he and I tried to perfect using the 3-section staff, after a long, long time, I mean months, one day after hitting myself in the head, I said, I know how to use this. And I threw it down. And how you use it is you give it to the other guy. Yes, you do not use the 3-section staff. You grab it and you throw it at his feet for him to use. And he will beat the living hell out of himself. Yeah, I hunt in Kentucky. Now, Mr. Suck Account with the funny name, I did not kill Milton John in self-defense. Would I kill Milton John in self-defense? Hell fucking yes. I mean, that tall-ass Ichabod Crane-looking motherfucker, if he shows up here, that's the first thing that I'm going to do. Now, at times I'm good with throwing a rock. I'm really good. Now, I grew up in Cincinnati, as I mentioned earlier, and that's a baseball town. So, I learned to throw a baseball at an early age. Well, Mason's sticking out here, and I'll keel it. Keel it. I kind of miss Milton John's threats, though. I was always waiting for the next creative way he was going to kill me. Now, he did threaten my neighbors, and I showed my neighbors that. So I think if he was to show up here, my neighbors would probably unalive him. Yep. Now, this is another thing. It's like where I live, Elaine Miller's people will call you in pizzas. And my response was, I'll kiss you on the fucking lips if you get me a pizza here. Because we have no pizza delivery in the middle of nowhere. I live like 8 miles out of any pizza delivery. I mean, my cops don't SWAT. They can't call in a pizza. All my family is dead. I buried my entire family. Now, a fun fact, because the nursing home took everything my mother had, I had to bury my mother with a shovel. Nah, I'm not gay. Were you looking for a date or something? Now, Ronnie, I did hear, once again, where I gather information, I have a rumor that he is at his mom's. This is a rumor from one person. May or may not be true. And if so, I feel sorry for them. But I'm sure that Milton's extended time in jail and in the mental institution, I'm sure that he's quite damaged. So we'll see when he pops back out. But I would also bet that, much like Letitia, he's on a social media ban. Well, you can kiss my mom if you dig her up. I'm not digging her up. I mean, I buried her. I mean, shoveling a grave sucks. I mean, let's just, when we talk about, remember earlier, if you were here, we had these top 10 suck experiences in life. And one of those top 10 was having to dig my own mother's grave with a shovel. Yes, that was another one of my top 10 suck experiences. Now, an interesting thing is after you dig an actual full grave with a shovel, you are so exhausted, you're done mourning at that point. I mean, after I buried my mother, the next day I woke up, I could hardly move, but emotionally I was fine. Digging the grave, I kind of emotionally worked through it all. Yeah, well, actually, it's getting banned because, we don't allow spam on my chat. I'm going to be very lenient here, but, people that spam shit, you're just gone. Because, like I said, I do not monetize YouTube channels. That way, I can be an unrestrained prick if I feel like I need to be an unrestrained prick. I can also do fun things that other people can't. I live in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. Yes, I do. In fact, if we go to find my location, you see that? I'm in the middle of nowhere, and all those buildings belong to me. I have my very own compound. I have 3 buildings. In fact, I've got 3 bedrooms in this one. I got 2 bedrooms in the one, and I have a loft apartment in the barn. Well, Tatter Tick, I do not know Von Helton. Now, an interesting thing, Von Helton does come from where my mother's people are from. I'm in a different area of Kentucky, but yes, my mother does come from the same area as Von Helton, but Von Helton is not related to me. It took me a full day. Yes, it took me a full day with only a couple breaks. But I mean, the whole next fucking week, I was basically laid up. I was so upset and I had so much adrenaline. Now, another thing is why I had to dig that fucking grave. Now, a backhoe operator that normally digs graves, the nursing home took fucking everything. Nothing. And he was trying to blackmail me for $600. Well, I keep things dark here. And like I said, and he got smart with me. And I'm explaining to him, I can pay you over time. And he's like, well, if you don't come up with it, that grave's just not going to get dug. And I looked him straight in the eye, and there was another woman there. And I told him, well, I can't say exactly what I would said because that could flag on YouTube. But I looked him right in the eye, and I said, if you say one more word to me, I will unalive you where you stand. And I meant it that day. Had he said one more word to me, I would have unalived him where he stood. He was smart enough to turn around, and he went. And the next morning, I got the shovel, and I went down there and dug my mother's grave. While looking at mine. Because you see, I own my own grave, and it sits right there in a series of family plots. And it was interesting because when I was young, there was like an huge empty area in that area of the graveyard. And now if you go to that graveyard, it's all completely filled up, and there's one empty plot. And that one's mine. Oh, yeah. The filling it was the easy part. You just get up on the mound and just start shoveling it in, and at some point, gravity gives you a certain level of assist. Now, you don't get it fully done, but, you get it enough to where it's a covered grave, and, it can be finished later on. No. This is, my mother died in 2011. So, this has been a long time ago. It's been about a dozen years. Now, Roger's life, because I had to take care of my mother for a decade, starting around 33. In 2001, 9 days after 9/11, my dad went out and had a car accident and got himself killed. Then the next year, my mother ended up in the hospital, infirmed, came out brain damaged, and that basically ended my life there. And then I became her caregiver until her death. So after I buried my mother, I was putting my life back together. I was going out, getting odd jobs, doing my thing. And then November 18th, 2015, out of the blue, for no reason, on a good day, I started having seizures. There was a woman that was there that was a friend of mine, and her husband has seizures. And she looked at me and said, "Roger, you're having a seizure." And I went to tell her that I'm not having a seizure, except I found nothing could come out because I was having a seizure. And since November 18th of 2015, I have seizures. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse. Now, I didn't start smoking marijuana for them until 2017. But since then, they've got them to where instead of I'm about to hurt myself all the time, to where it's more like a Mitch McConnell lockup with some shaking. Well, Blaze, everyone has their challenges. My PTSD from birth, it made me very feral. A lot of times I'm more like a human house cat. I'm not completely domesticated, honestly. Now, an interesting thing is, in the wintertime, if you have a seizure in the snow, you make a seizure angel. And they kind of look fucked up, just saying. Well, you're newer here, but, when I was in my 20s, I used to sell drugs. Used to, operative word. And I had even stopped smoking pot until 2017. But I do smoke a little bit to help me with my seizures. Now, an interesting thing here, as I said a little while ago, you cannot get pizza delivered here. Now, you could, if I wanted drugs, that would be no problem. I mean, any drug that I wanted, if I was into that sort of thing, would just drive down my driveway. Now, you see, once again, because as I said, I used to sell drugs, I do have a lot of drug dealers that are friends. And even though I'm not doing the drugs, they're still my friends. Actually, Captain Hoodie, I am not a Christian. Nope. Nope, not in the least. Not a Christian thing about me. I am a pagan. Yep. Out here in the middle of the wilderness. I farm a lot of my own food now. Since things go crazy, I put farming food over YouTube. Well, it'll be good. Well, it'll be good to get to know you, Blaze, because, like I say, this gets to be an interesting place at times. Times it can be not so, but there's times I make it fun. And as I said, I do different characters, and my lovely kitty knocked off my mask. I was going to do an Alfarius bit real quick, but the kitty knocked off my mask I leave over here, and I'm not wearing any pants. Just saying. Because I had to march a couple miles to the store today and back and carry cat food. So, this is a satin comforter. An interesting Roger thing. When I was young, I thought I may not be a king, but I spend a third of my life in bed, so I swore I would sleep like a king. So I sleep under fur blankets and satin blankets. Well, actually, it's pretty good. Now, Blaze, I have seen a ton of supernatural events. Now, when I was a young man, of 15 years old, I had a mentor. He had been in Vietnam. He was 15 years my senior. And he was a witch. So yes, I have seen all sorts of supernatural stuff, but I save that kind of stuff for Halloween type of year. You know, when it comes down to Halloween, you know, that's when I break out interesting, weird stories. Now, since you are mentioning that kind of stuff, I will mention a interesting story where I used to grow up. In Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Zoo. Well, around the Cincinnati Zoo is a bunch of neighborhoods, and they're mostly black neighborhoods. Well, I used to sell weed to a bunch of the black guys that sold weed in the hood around the zoo. And in that neighborhood, people were scared to death. They kept seeing a tiger. You know, they kept saying, "You have a tiger loose, you have a tiger loose." And the zoo would keep saying, "All the tigers are accounted for." What they were seeing was a ghost tiger. And I would say that around the Cincinnati Zoo to this day, they probably still see that ghost tiger. Monica, am I racist? I mean, the stupidest people are white and live around me. Seriously, you'll get to see that sort of thing because there's another interesting factoid of Roger life. I live in Kentucky. Now, everyone knows the Hatfields and the McCoys. The McCoys are a mile up the road. That some of the descendants from the historical Hatfield-McCoy feud, they live a mile up the road. I mean, how can I be racist when the dumbest people can look just like me? Actually, I'm a quarter Cherokee, or so abouts. Now, I'm not at my darkest of the year because it's spring. But, you know, I can tan better than everyone else. Put it that way. I am English, Scottish, Irish, and Cherokee. Now, the funny thing is I didn't learn about the Cherokee until I was in my 30s. It turned out there was many people in my family that were lying. And once again, when I had another aunt that started doing genealogy, turned out that there is a whole bunch of Indians in the woodpile. Well, actually around, excuse me just for a second. Well, around here, most people do. And I'll explain to you the reason why. Because you see, if you were a Cherokee woman and you married a white man, you did not have to go on the Trail of Tears. Now, my great-grandfather was an Indian named Redbird. And he said, "I am not going on the Trail of Tears." And he was married to a white woman. They murdered him. Now, an interesting thing. You see, someone came in, justice for Matt Laib. That's Philip Greenwald. Philip Greenwald is one of the funniest lunatics on earth, but his mommy won't let him come on the internet to play. So he spams my chat. Now, a fun thing is we all love a little bit of internet trolling. And I am one of the greatest trolls in the universe. Now, Philip Greenwald used to obsess with Playmate Tessie. And one day, while he was in her chat, I just came in and he said he's 26 years old at the time and he just went to the movies with his mother. At the time, Chris Chan just got busted for fucking his mother. And I said, "What kind of Chris Chan shit is this?" And then everyone else in chat picked up on it and then fed on him like he was a gazelle. Now, once again, for fun, now and then, I will do a great troll. So one of my goals was to get Philip Greenwald and his mother on a live stream denying the relationship. It took me about a month, but finally Philip got his mother on camera to deny their sexual relationship. And it was one of the most funny things on the fucking internet ever. And you can find that on the Papa Greeny channel. Now, for people that know of IP2, Papa Greeny came from Philip Greenwald because he would pretend to be his father. And it was some of the funniest shit ever on YouTube. Well, Andrew, you can clean my house. I didn't even get you a maid outfit. Just saying. So yes, that's Philip Greenwald. Now, I miss Philip, and I wish Philip would still do some videos. Now, I've got a couple of Philip on this channel where he's calling me Hitler, and he's also jumping up and down, talking about him wanting Playmate Tessie to be unalive because Playmate Tessie would give him no attention. No, I'm not a grandma. Well, now I get free food. I mean, I live a wilderness style life. I don't see many people, honestly. I might see a couple people a month, but I don't really need to see people. Actually, Philip, now you said it's all lies. Are you telling me that you really did have sex with your mother? Because Philip, you just told me that everything that I said was a lie. I said I trolled you into saying you didn't have a relationship with your mother. So are you telling me that this was a lie and you really are having a relationship with your mother? Because if so, I got to get a hold of Papa Greeny now. And yes, Eric, I pay my taxes. And in fact, in the last 30 days, I went and paid my taxes. Yes, I did. Because I pay property tax as I own property. I have a 3-bedroom place, a 2-bedroom place, 20 acres, and a giant pond. Yep. Now, because I am a farm, I get taxed at a less rate than you do. What am I lying about? I mean, if you go through my channel, you can see my farm. A lot of my life is on this channel. I even have a vlog channel, a tiny one. But yes, I mean, everything in my life has receipts. Actually, we have the video of you jumping up and down, asking Jesus to unalive Maya. You jumping up and down, saying that you want Maya West to be unalive, and you pray to fucking Jesus. I'm not kidding. He prayed to Jesus that this 18-year-old girl would be unalive. Now, once again, I do not have to make shit up. Just say it. I mean, now it's like McCoy's even can show up during my live stream. They usually show up on a motorcycle. Now, another interesting thing, the county that I live in 2002, our sheriff was assassinated. See, I live in a different world than you do. It may be the United States of America, but technically this is still Appalachia. Well, I have never committed. Now, once again, you didn't see this, but they throw out the P word all the time. Whatever. I have never committed a crime against a woman or a child. There you go. I've committed felonious assault against adult man after man after man after man. There you go. My crimes. I hurt men. Well, actually, my father was the arsonist. Now, you see, my father moved from Kentucky to Cincinnati in the 1950s. And this is why I was born in Cincinnati. My father actually met my mother in Cincinnati. Now, in the 1950s, he went to Kentucky from Kentucky to Cincinnati with $25 in his pocket and got a job at General Electric. And then he got drafted into the Army for the Korean War and put into a tank. And then about 13 years later and another wife, I was born. But my father worked for the UAW. My father was a shop steward, and my father was a professional union thug. And that's the house that I grew up in. Now, another fun thing is because of that, I am innocent until proven guilty. All of these YouTube fuckers, they keep calling the police on me, trying to SWAT me, and the police never come. Not once. So I have to laugh about that. Oh, my dad was a dick. I mean, I lost the lottery when it came to family members. You know, my uncles were much better men than my father. Now, my grandfather cheated on my grandmother. Now, only grandparent when I was born alive was my father's father. So I never knew my grandmothers. But apparently my grandfather cheated on my grandmother and she left. Now, she took my Uncle John, but she left the youngest. And the youngest was my father. And I often wondered growing up, why did my grandmother leave the young boy but took the other? And it realized that my grandmother understood that my dad was a dick. So she took the good child and said, you can have this one. He's just like you. Why do you want to see my foot? It's kind of footy. Just saying. All you'll see is a foot. But sorry, I'm not a trained monkey. If you want to see a foot, you'll just have to look straight down at your own. No, but I do play a trans character on YouTube. Yes. Ha! You thought you were trolling me, didn't you? But I play several characters on YouTube, and one of them is a trans character. And I leave this picture on this tablet just to show people to flex. No filter either. Yes. On my Roger Brown The Walking Dude channel, it used to be a channel that I played a trans character. Very pretty, is it not? Now, I also play a Horseman of the Apocalypse, and no one likes that character. I also play Grimgoth the Dark Elf, and I use some camera tricks and make 1 minute long videos, and I will show you that character real quick. Grimgoth the Dark Elf. And I'm holding one of my cats. And he's a white cat, by the way. That's why he's solid black. But yes, I am also on YouTube, Grimgoth the Dark Elf. And I talk like this because I can break into the character of Grimgoth whenever I want to. Now, you humans are just, well, let's just face it, you're stupid. I mean, we Dark Elves rule the entire world and you don't realize it. Every one of your presidents since Kennedy, we have decided which ones will be running and which ones will win. We just make you humans think that you run everything, but in reality, your world is run by Dark Elves. Now that you understand that, I'm sure that it makes much more sense to you all. Why would I want to say a racial slur for no reason? Just saying. I mean, I can be much more creative than that. Now, I have a comedy channel that I do with Grimgoth. And let me get up something right now, and I will play one of his bits. Grimgoth the Dark Elf. Get us some volume. Go to the Grimgoth channel. Go to his videos. Grimgoth discovers the magic of Christmas.
Trying to tell me that during the darkest, bleakest part of the year, you take your wealth, buy extravagant things, and then give to each other. Give? I mean, we don't even have that in our language as a dark elf. Now, take, we have like 582 words for take, and about 64 for grab. And we got about 1,042 of you're shit out of fucking luck. But he's so Christmas. You know, Grimgoth at this point, I think you guys are just trolling me. But until next time, it has been I, Grimgoth.
Yes, and I do Grimgoth is, you know, little short videos like that. I was right here on January 6th, and I am not autistic. Now, my mentor, he was an ogre. Yes, he was not a lichen, he was not a Bigfoot, he was an ogre. And he would even say, I am a cruel-hearted orc that rules the night. Well, actually, my disability is for complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and it makes me a whole lot more fun than you. Just saying. Now, I'm going to go here in a bit because, well, I have to say this has been fairly entertaining, getting to know some of you people, and the funny thing is I've had to block a whole lot of less people than I normally do. By a ton, which amuses the fuck out of me, honestly. This is a practice katana. This does not unsheathe. This is all wood. This is so I don't cut myself practicing, because I am a pretty good swordsman. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because it's 11:30 at night. Now, everyone, thank you for coming. And if you want to bullshit with me more, subscribe. And if not, whatever. Now, thank you for coming, those that care, and those that don't, also whatever. Now, everyone, have a good night.